ceremony to put it on the tape also so it can go around the country.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the day that I found out that he passed, the sister Delbert down in Georgia sent me a great body of his work, at least 20 of his tapes she sent me, and I got them the same exact day. And then I pressed my message machine, and somebody said, oh, Brother C from L had passed away.
Yeah.
But what I also want to say is that if you get yourself a 7-day candle, and light that put his name on the candle and light that 7-day candle for Brother C. Freeman L. in honor of him. And we did this, and it's been just awesome, powerful, like a sweet energy flowing through the whole house. Besides the organs, because that's a powerful energy too. But definitely the C. Freeman L. candle just put a positive energy all over the place. Just a lot of positive.
And I want to add on to that because I fell in love with Bobby's work via Azazel. And then I became interested in where was he getting some of his information from.
Right.
And this brother's voice, this brother's presence, I've heard Moores teach before, but not the way C. Freeman L. teaches.
Teacher, right?
He is literally a master teacher, and everyone else with children.
And Bobby, break down the funeral procession and all that for us.
As far as
what you told us earlier about the funeral, because that just brought joy to my heart when I especially.
Yeah, what we did was well, several things happened. One thing was we was trying to get to try to find a key place. There were some black people that opened up a church down in Atlanta called the First African Presbyterian Church. So basically, these were some Presbyterian people, and they just decided, hey, we're gonna take this thing and we're gonna be in this thing. We're gonna make it Africanized. So they Africanized the church. You know what I'm saying? They got arms, they got all kind of pictures, they got all kind of stuff like that. You know. And so what happened was, they actually, after their service, they told us to come back at 3 and they gave us the actual church. So there was about 25 people that showed up, and all the people that showed up was his students. And everybody, and each one started reminiscing on the several things, how he affected their lives and stuff like that. But his spirit actually came through, because it got to the point where as we didn't want to leave. You were just sitting around and we didn't want to leave, and it was real powerful. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, he really got a serious going away, and I could tell.
You get to speak at the church?
Yeah. We all did. Everybody, see what it was. We just sat around. It was informal, and everybody came and just did their testimony on their experiences with him. And come to find out that there was about. Me and my two brothers were the only ones that was there from the first class. You see what I'm saying? Because we had a big first class and then they had an advanced class. But the other ones was the ones that was there from first class was like 93. So the other ones got to know him in the mid to late 90s. And they was all standing up giving testimonies how he cursed them out. How he went off on all of them. So they was asking, they wanted to know, did he go off on me like that? And I told him no, we was of the first class, so it was a whole different thing that was going down. But I told him how me and C. Freeman L, and this is ironic, me and C. Freeman L set up an office. Our office was in front of Starbucks downtown Atlanta in the Equitable building, and people used to come by and stuff, and they would come by if they wanted to get in contact with us. They would come to the Starbucks, and we sat out there for a year swapping information and doing things. And at the end of that year, Professor John Henry Clark died. Now that was 10 years ago, 1998. Kwame Ture died. Now this is the most eerie thing also. C. Freeman L wanted to make he was writing a book on the astrology and the Bible and showing how that whole Bible thing was an astrology book. He said, I said, well, what's taking you so long? He said he wanted about 600 pages so niggas won't bootleg it. I said, well, you must don't know the niggas from New York. So he said, no, but they might. He said, but you know, around the country they'll be discouraged to bootleg a book that's 600 pages. This was his thing. Right. But anyway, that was one of the things. But this is the eerie thing. The day he died, a book came out in Barnes and Nobles called. That he never finished his book. It was called The Gospel of the Zodiac. And it's about the same thing. They go through each chapter in the Bible and show you where it's Venus, Mars, Jupiter, you know, Sagittarius, Virgo, and they break the stuff down. The same thing he was doing. And the day he died, I said, whatever it was, somebody spiritually finished the book for him. Now, one of the other key books that came out the day he died, he used to, one of his main books he used to teach on was called the Kabbalion.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the Kabbalion, as you know, is the book where they took one of the 7 Hermetic laws and made the secret from.
Right.
You see, from the Kabbalion. And everybody's going crazy on the secret. That was C. Freemanel's book, the Kabbalion. And all his students, that's the book he was telling you, get the Hermetic laws, the Kabbalion by the 3 initiates. Now this is interesting here because I want to show you this, because the day he died, the day he made the transition, this book comes out called The Secret Source. Called The Secret Source. Now, and this book says, the law of attraction is just one of the 7 Hermetic laws. That's what the sequence is about. Here's the other 7. No, here's the other 6. And it's called The Secret Source, and this is a whole book that has a complete Kabbalion in it, and it goes into the missions of Tahuti and all of the other stuff. And this came out also the day that he made the transition. So it just shows you that everything that we're dealing with is connected in some kind of way. It's not just random, and it's not that everything is in divine order. It's in divine order. And it's ironic that we lost one of the historical masters 10 years ago, 2008. We lost the metaphysical master at this particular time, 10 years ago, 1998. The historian and the revolutionary, Kwame Ture, John Henry Clark. And this year he transcended on this year one of the metaphysical masters in 2008, and he said something about he had to go on the 8. That's the 800. He said something about the metaphysical, the 8, which is infinity.
Right.
And he was the one that always used to talk about the 8. C. Freemanel would talk about the 8, and he would always link it to Elijah Muhammad. He said that's why Elijah Muhammad wore the bow tie. The bow tie is the number 8, infinity, and it's also called the bow star, which is the star Sirius, and the 3 stars is in the middle of the Orion's belt. So he used to break down that type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? So we have a major master that ascended, and that means we got to go back and study the whole kung fu movies and the sensei thing. When the master ascends, the master doesn't ascend. The master actually goes to the throne. So in so many words, we got that kind of power we rolling with now.
Yeah, that's what. That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, right.
We sent. It's like you send you send a senator to Washington D.C. You see what I'm saying? For whatever your district is. Well, it's the same thing in this particular heaven realm. And in this particular case, we're not just talking about just some minor heaven realm. He said that he's at the highest level amongst the masters.
We just got stronger.
We just got stronger. That's the whole thing what Obi-Wan Kenobi said. Yeah. If you take me out, I'm only going to get stronger. And then what happened? Obi-Wan Kenobi was able to direct Luke Skywalker from the other realm. You see, other realm. Which also goes back to this. He smoked cigarettes. And he drank.
That's what I wanted to do. Light a cigarette for him.
Yeah, and he drank the Old English. He drank the Old English, and all. And what it was, and I used to introduce people, and he'd be chain smoking, and they'd be like, "You call this a master?" And whatever. I'm saying, when the master comes, you never gonna recognize it. The same thing happened with Yoda. Yoda was a little old runt living in a shithole eating stew, and as a result, Luke Skywalker treated him with a heavy hand when he first met him. And then he told him, I can't teach him. He's too old. You know, and different stuff like that. But the point I'm trying to make here, the master never comes in the way you think. And that's the first thing, and it's ironic me saying this that he passed, because that's one thing that John Henry Clark used to say. John Henry Clark said that the African way of the real leader, or the African way of the it's a cigarette, yeah. He would say the African way of the real leader or the real revolutionary is you never, we spoke in this cigarette for C. Freemanel, is you never see the real leader or the real revolutionary or the real master. You might meet several decoys. And the real master, whenever you see the real master, he's not going to be anything like you think it is. And that's the way C. Freemanel was. and all. And obviously, and I didn't realize that the students, there was 25 students up in there, and he cursed all them out. Except, and even I heard he even cussed Shabazz out when he came up here the last time. Because Shabazz had a speaker on before him that he didn't agree. But when you think about it and all, that's a master type stroke that went down. So,
all right, so that cigarette that's in the ashtray is for
C.
So this book is called The Secret Source. This book is called The Secret Source, which is basically the Kabbalion. It's a new version of the Kabbalion with extra stuff. So this is the one to get.
Where can we get that, Bobby?
I got it from Barnes and Nobles.
Okay.
But I'm also urging people to go out and get the Gospel of the Zodiac, because you honor him. Because his thing was, if you're gonna get our people, you're gonna have to go through the Bible. That was his thing.
Yeah.
He said, I done read the Book of the Dead. I done read a lot of these things. He said, but if you're gonna really, not the conscious people.
right.
But if you're going to effectively get the other ones, you're going to have to go through the Bible. That's why Ray Hagen is successful. This man is getting big audiences.
That's right.
Outside of the conscious community. Most of the people that's coming is not even part of the conscious community.
That's
so
right.
my point here is there's a way to bridge the gap. And that's why tomorrow I'm going to go into the metaphysics of the Bible on some new information and new stuff I got too. I'm going to go on also to some more stuff. Now this is an interesting thing. I did a lecture at the Moorish Science Temple in Chicago under Noble Drew Ali, and about 2 weeks later, he passed, and everything is connected. And when I was there, I told him that my mother made it. Now, the last time I came here in June of 2006,
It is.
my mother made the transition 4 days after I came, but I talked about her in the lecture. People were like, "Dang, you was talking about your mama in the lecture." Because she died on June the 20th.
Like you was paying homage, right?
Right. And I eulogize her. Now, this is the funny part about that. Not only that, what happened is this. When I was at the Moorish Science Temple, they all came and they said, "We heard you on the tape, and you mentioned that your mother died or made the transition on July the 20th, 2006. They said that Noble Drew Ali died on July the 20th, 1929.
Wow.
And I say, well, it's interesting because 30 years to that day, Bruce Lee died on July the 20th, 1973.
73.
And it's ironic because Bruce Lee came to Panic and told him, look, I'm a god now. And I want to be recognized as a god. And I'm like, well, here it is again. About like the whole thing that went down with C. Freeman L. You master certain things, and when you go on a high level. Another full-fledged god at this particular time is Jimi Hendrix. And we're just waiting to see what's going to happen to James Brown. Because here's a man, they said, that changed time on the planet Earth.
Yes.
So you know that's a god. You see, he changed time on the planet Earth. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, we're seeing a lot of entertainers go, a lot of masters that's leaving. And your entertainers are your angels, they're your gods. You see what I'm saying? Leaving. Another thing we want to give a shout out is to brother Asa Hilliard. Asa Hilliard made the transition, but let me tell you about Asa Hilliard. Asa Hilliard was one of the pioneers into the Afrocentric movement. They came about in 1985 with the ASCAC thing, and they started putting this stuff together. These were school teachers who didn't have this to do, and they was like, hey, this stuff is African, and they brought us back to Egypt and Kemet. And Asa Hilliard was one of the pioneers. So that's a major thing that went down, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Barack Obama is the one that brought his body back to the States.
Wow.
And Asa Hilliard was a form of Anubis. I'm going to go into the whole thing what happened. And that energy was transferred to a new Anubis type of character with the Barack Obama thing that is going down. So what I'm trying to say here is this also. Down here we can argue about people's politics. You know what I'm saying? What they do with white folks, what they do with this, is he the boule, but you got to realize, in order for them to be the white man can't use nobody who ain't a higher spirit. So my point here is, a lot of these ones down here, when you get down on the planet Earth, you can get into all kind of trouble in politics and stuff like that, but these be gods. You see what I'm saying? You know, Quincy Jones, that's a god. Now people might argue that he married all these white women and all this kind of thing here. Quincy Jones is a god. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta look at, sometimes we gotta get past a person's politics and see what kind of energy that is going down with and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah.
Let me ask you a question. With Obama, since you said he brought Asa Hillard's, body back. Yeah. A lot of times before he can be appointed to a certain high office, as part of a ritual, like Jesse Jackson got a knockoff with Dr. King, or this one got a knockoff. Right. Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that he was involved with. No.
I think no. It wasn't about the death. What it was is it was a boule move, I think. Okay. Because we was asking, what does Barack Obama have to do with Asa Hilliard? But Asa Hilliard was in the boule. You understand what I'm saying? Now, like I said, despite their politics, people do stuff to survive on the planet Earth. They make deals all the time. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about a certain energy and stuff. They talk about a certain energy. He taught mass amount of people the stuff on Hemmitt. Now, so it might have been a boule move, but nevertheless, in the spirit world, they were saying, well, you do what you want to line up stuff down there and whatever type stuff. That's the arena you in. You see what I'm saying? That's the arena you in. Well, if you running for president and stuff, you a senator. You got to be in that's arena that you chose. You see what I'm saying? But on the other hand, we're saying there's some spiritual stuff to this stuff too. And that's the point and stuff. And we seeing the spiritual stuff that's going on now. Yeah. This man is rock shocking the house to the point that they trying to come at him with both barrels. They done found another preacher that they say another preacher they say that is hooked up with him. They try to connect him with some terrorist guy. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. But when they come after you like that, obviously there's something you doing that they didn't mean for it to happen. And some shit done got out of hand. But we, these days, we rolling on that level.
Middle of the chessboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to win the actual election?
Well, the day that the Jeremiah thing dropped, which was his preacher, the Clinton campaign, high officials in the Clinton campaign admitted that there's no way she can win. Because between the time of the last primary, which is in June, which is in June, he pulled such a head in the delegates that he got till she won't be able to catch up. There's no way she can catch up. The only way she could have caught up was they was hoping that they could get Florida and Michigan to recount because they just was disqualified, and that would have put her close. But Florida and Michigan the other day was like, no, we can't do it. So what it is they said that there's no way she can win. So they said, well, what we can do, we could just give it to her, as white people do. But then they found out this. They said, no, you got to realize, we got mass black people that's been with Democrats since I guess the New Deal, which is Roosevelt. Or even, you know what I'm saying, they've been Democrats for over close to 70 years. Or going on 70 years. They say, if we do this time, because we didn't count their votes in 2000 with the Bush thing. They said, if we do this time, we're going to have the entire black part of the Democratic Party walk out. And we're not going to chance that with this Clinton bitch that we don't like no way. You see what I'm saying? That we don't like no way. So what the deal here is, they're saying he's going to at least get the Democratic nomination. So as a result, they put out the Jeremiah thing so that they could hurt him for the McCain thing. And this is the mystery. The McCain